So, you may or may not have heard that in the past week, GepRC released a Cinelog style quad with a small form factor and the ability to carry a naked GoPro, and they call it the Cinelog30. And this is not that drone. This is actually its little brother, the Cinelog25. And they're both very, very similar. But I have a lot to say about this guy in particular, because this is a drone that I've been using non-stop for the past few months. And in all honesty, this is one out of two drones that I never intended on doing a review on. I bought it just for myself, I needed it for a particular gig, and it just ended up impressing me so much that I thought it'd be a shame not to talk about it with you guys. So, I'm gonna do a review on this today, and I have another one coming for that other drone, so if you wanna see that one as well, make sure to subscribe. Now, you might be thinking, but Matt, one of the last reviews you just did was on the ProTech 35, another Cinelog, and I just bought that one. Now you're using something else? Well, yes and no. I've been using this one a lot, but I still have my ProTech 35. And although they both fall under the general category of Cinelogs, I'd say even just by looking at them, you can see that they have some pretty big differences, most notably their size. And you might remember in my last review, the ProTech crushed it in high-speed chases, but it wasn't too great in smaller indoor areas. And that's exactly where this guy shines. So this week, this is going to be my review of the Cinelog25. I also want to talk about the differences between the 25 and the 35, and also which naked camera I'd recommend to use with it. So anyways, let's get into it. So first, when you open the box, you'll get the drone, spare propellers, antenna covers, an extra strap, a variety of pads for the base and for the battery, a naked GoPro mount, stickers, and a small hex screwdriver. I was honestly really impressed to see this little hex screwdriver included. Practically all the screws on the Cinelog25 are the exact same size, so I really think this is going to help some beginners out who may not know what tools they need yet. I was pretty disappointed though when I didn't see any instructions included, and I've noticed that this is pretty common with a lot of FPV companies, including little to no instructions with their pre-built drones. But I honestly think that this is a huge mistake on their part. Especially with FPV drones becoming more and more mainstream, I feel like manufacturers need to start taking any small steps they can to lowering the hurdles that first-time pilots have to jump through. One of the reasons why the DJI FPV drone, which I have over there, is so popular, even though its performance isn't amazing, is because they make it so easy to just take it out and fly right away. And I think that even just including some straightforward instructions would help instill more confidence in a beginner for choosing a certain product. That being said, setting it all up isn't too complicated, but you may have to rely on YouTube or other online communities to figure it all out. Looking at the quad itself, again, the first thing you'll notice is its small form factor. It's about the size of my open palm. And if I put it on a scale with a camera and this battery, it weighs just over 212 grams. Now, even if you decided to use it with a slightly bigger battery, you could probably still keep it under 250 grams, which is amazing because that means that it's legally still considered a micro drone, meaning you can fly it here in Canada without a license, and with less restrictions in the US and other countries. You can see that it also has guards around its propellers. This makes it a lot safer to fly indoors and around people. It also uses 4S batteries, and the ones I use are 450 milliamp hours. On their website, the recommended size of battery for this drone is anywhere between 450 and 750. Now, in case you guys are wondering, the differences between the Cinelog25 and the 30 seem pretty minor. The Cinelog 30 is going to be a little bit bigger. It also has bigger propellers. That one has 3-inch propellers, while these are 2.5-inch. The motors seem to be the exact same size, but they do spin at slightly different speeds. And other than that, they seem to be exactly the same. You also get the choice of purchasing them in analog or digital. Analog is going to be significantly cheaper and also might be a little bit lighter, which could result in longer flight times with your battery. The digital version will be significantly more money, but, well, you get better picture quality in your goggles. That being said, it's important to keep in mind that because of worldwide shortages of various electronic components, the camera that the digital version comes with keeps being updated. Originally, when I purchased this drone, it shipped with the Cadex Nebula Pro, which is a pretty nice camera. But then recently, I asked GepRC to send me another one to do parts of this review, and also just because I love this drone so much, I want to have a backup, and they shipped it with the Cadex Nebula Nano. And I gotta say, this camera kind of sucks. I definitely don't recommend it. At least if you're spending a premium to go digital, the quality of this camera just isn't worth it. Luckily, all of the newest versions of the Cinelog25 are shipping with the Cadex Polar. And although I haven't had a chance to use that camera yet, based off of other people's reviews, the quality seems pretty good. Maybe not quite as good as the Cadex Nebula Pro, but it seems pretty damn close. Taking a look at the drone again, I also like the Cinelog's all black design. This is just a personal preference, but to me, a lot of times when the drone has too many bright colors, it looks more like a toy than a professional tool. So I'm always a big fan of the all black look. Finally, to film cinematic videos, it also comes with a mount to carry a naked action cam. Now, you probably know that on a more standard size FPV drone, action cameras like GoPros are the most common ways to film HD footage of your flights. But because of its size and weight, a quad like this just can't handle that extra weight on top. So this has started a trend of naked action cameras like these. For example, this is a GoPro Hero 8, but it's been taken apart and stripped of all non-essential pieces and put into a new case to create a lighter, more compact package. These cameras do not come included with the drone, but there are various places you can buy one or you can DIY one yourself. Another feature on the Cinelog is that the camera sits on this platform and is soft mounted and separated from the rest of the frame using these rubber spacers. This is to help prevent any vibrations from your drone making it into your camera feed. Okay, but now for the most important question, how does it actually fly? And I gotta say, straight out of the box, the Cinelog is pretty amazing. I don't want to call anybody out, but I used to own another quad in a very similar form factor from a really popular company right now. You might know what brand I'm alluding to, but that quad gave me nothing but trouble. I constantly kept seeing vibrations in my video feed, and overall the quad just felt very cheap. But I gotta say, the Cinelog doesn't feel anything like that whatsoever. It's incredibly smooth in the air, and it really feels like some effort was put into tuning the quad. Now, one thing I noticed is that the original one I bought came with slightly smaller motors than the current models do. And I actually think that makes the current ones a little bit more versatile. You can fly it quickly or slowly, while this one feels a little bit more underpowered now. But honestly, I didn't really mind. And I actually thought that the smaller motors paired with the tune that they put on it just made it absolutely perfect for me. It gave the quad this very smooth feeling when it was flying in the air that I really liked. While this one, if I punch it out a little bit harder or make it do a sharper turn, I get a little bit more prop wash. Don't get me wrong, the tune is still really great on this one, but this one, for me, was perfect. When I was filming all those indoor shots that you've been seeing, this was the exact tool that I wanted for the job, Because it's so light, I felt confident that if I crashed into something, I wouldn't end up damaging it, which resulted in me trying riskier shots. The downside to its weight though, because it's so light, it won't do incredibly well in windier conditions. You can still fly it outside, and the current model with slightly bigger motors will probably do a little bit better, but flying on a calm day will make a big difference in this guy's performance. With the 450 mAh batteries I was using, the flight times weren't anything crazy. I was getting on average a little bit more than 4 minutes, which I think is pretty normal for quads with this form factor. Again, these were the smallest batteries recommended, so you could probably get something a little bit bigger and boost that up a little bit. For me, I loved the way that the quad flew with the smaller battery, and those 4 minutes were enough to get 2 solid takes of whatever shot I was trying to get. So for me, they were enough. But yeah, just being able to fly the Cinelog through small gaps and around people without worrying that you're putting someone in danger or gonna break something just made every flight relaxing and fun. And it is just one less thing to worry about when you're flying. But before I end this review, I also wanted to talk about the cameras. Although they haven't been my favorite tool, I've experimented with various naked cameras in the past year. And if you're thinking about getting one, there's a few things that you should keep in mind. Filming with a naked camera is not as easy as filming with a fully assembled GoPro, and it comes with a variety of challenges. First, on many of them, there's no screen, so it's a lot harder to see what your shot looks like, and a lot harder to change your settings. To get around this, you can use the GoPro app if you want to get a preview of your shot, and if you want to change the settings on your camera, you'll have to use another app as well. The one I use is called QR Control, and it generates a QR code that the GoPro scans to update its settings. Next, there's no battery in the camera. Instead, you have to plug it straight into your drone and get power from your drone's battery. The problem is, different naked cameras sometimes require different voltages to operate, and some people run into problems even getting their camera to power on or end up burning their camera out. Naked cameras are also less durable. Because you're removing most of the protective housing, the camera becomes more fragile. I can definitely speak on behalf of this. I dropped one of my naked cameras from about 6 or 7 feet and it never turned on again. And I definitely think that if you were to drop a GoPro from that same height, it would most likely be okay. So that's definitely something else to keep in mind. Finally, I noticed that sometimes naked GoPros can just be less reliable. I had one camera that I had to push the power button on 7 times before it would turn on, or another camera that would just stop recording mid-flight and I would have no idea why. So if you're taking it apart yourself, it's just a risk that you have to be prepared for. But I do have a solution for you though. And conveniently enough, my favorite naked camera is the GepRC Naked Hero 8. Now, while all my other cameras had various quirks that made them a hassle to use, this one just seems to work flawlessly every single time. And it is pretty expensive if you want to get it pre-built by GepRC, but I honestly think it's completely worth it. But there is another option. You can also get a kit where you can disassemble your own GoPro and use their BEC board and case to make your own. And that doesn't cost that much, but you do still have to buy your own GoPro. But anyways, this is the camera that I used to get all those restaurant shots that you've been seeing. And I'm gonna make a separate video just talking about that shoot in particular. So if you wanna see that, you know what to do. But getting a solid naked camera that works like this one and pairing it with a tiny drone like the Cinelog25 really does make a pretty interesting filmmaking tool. For me, this is definitely gonna be my go-to quad for getting indoor shots, and you know it's gonna be in heavy rotation when you start getting more than one. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. As always, I appreciate every single one of you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.